All right, everybody. Hello, all our followers, Move, Think, Smile followers, all you rockin' health coaches, you wellness experts, you medical experts and consultants out there in our heart-based selling and business growth for health coaches. I am Adam Von Inns. I am the co-founder of Move, Think, Smile, here with the real founder of Move, Think, Smile, the beautiful Elea Faucheron. And I'm not kidding. This stuff wouldn't exist if it wasn't for her. I mean, you guys hear me talking a lot. You see me posting a lot, but it's really up to Elea. And Elea's, what's interesting is somebody just posted in a group this morning, and it was Gretta Lane Starnes, and she posted a very, very serious thing about a Florida health coach who basically got reprimanded by the state of Florida for health coaching. Can you tell us about what's going on?
Yeah, so I was, reading this article, and it's really fascinating because basically she just got a letter in the mail with a fine, $750, basically stating that she could not give nutritional advice, she could not give, meal plans because she was not a registered dietitian. And so they basically, and what's interesting too about this case is she had actually moved from California to Florida. And so really what we're going to be talking about today is taking a look at how can you health coach, how can you help educate people around nutrition, with being able to bypass these laws. Now, as Adam's going to say, we're not lawyers.
No.
Right?
No. So this is not about legal advice, guys.
Yep.
First and foremost, we are not lawyers, but I do think it's important to understand, how did the state even find this out? So what was she really doing? She was handing out meal plans. All right. So a licensed dietitian got word that she was doing this. And, let's be honest, guys, registered licensed nutritionists and dietitians, these licensed and registered people. First, I got to say, there's room for all of us in this universe. All right. Yes. We're not coming in trying to encroach on anybody's territory, but they do feel threatened. And they often feel threatened by health coaching because a lot of the methods we used are more new school, new age. We don't have to follow FDA's 17 years of approval for human trials in order to recommend something to one of our patients. And so typically we tend to have faster results with people. Now, first and foremost, like I said, we're not attorneys. We're not giving any legal advice, but we are going to show you and tell you exactly how you can bypass these laws, both ethically and legally, while having more impact with your clients and getting them better results without having to dish out meal plans or recipes and telling them what to eat. This is very important. And I do want to say, looking at licensed and dietitians and registered nutritionists and things like this, my mother just had her knee replaced, full knee replacement surgery in a hospital. It was crazy. It was an outpatient surgery, same day. About an hour or two after she comes out of recovery, in walks a licensed dietitian with a plate full of inflammation and wants my mom to eat it. And so I'm like, oh, cool. They brought you some food. She's a licensed dietitian. This must be awesome. Pulled it off. And I was like, nope. And my mom was like, let me look at it. And I'm like, luckily my mom we work together, right? So she listens to what I say. She opened up. She's like, I'm not eating that. And what it was a giant pile of processed white mashed potatoes. Who knows where they came from? Definitely not organic. There was about, I'd say almost a pound of really fatty beef on there. Again, probably not organic, let alone beef, inflammation maker. A really thick, buttery, dairy, gravy, yucky cream sauce, and three baby carrots. So like 2 pounds of inflammation and about an ounce worth of organic plant material. So I knew that if my mother was going to eat that, that was going to cause her knee to just go out of whack, and it was going to prolong her ability to heal, and the inflammation is going to get worse. And I was sitting here thinking, it's like, surely this nutritionist, this licensed nutrition or this licensed dietitian would know that this is probably one of the worst things you could give somebody after any surgery, let alone just knee replacement surgery, which is no joke. They're cutting off your bones and putting metal parts in there and stuff like that. There's a lot of inflammation. And I'm like, and I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt because I know these are good people. Yep. I know that they're trained classically. And also, you don't know what's inherent to the system. I mean, maybe the hospital's telling her, you've got to work with what we have. And here's our closet of cafeteria food from the 1983 school district. This is what we've got. So go for it. You're in charge. So we don't know what's happening there. But I do want to say, there's room for all of us in this universe, guys. And health coaches take a more proactive approach as far as reversing people's chronic lifestyle disease, not just through diet. At least we don't. We also take a proactive approach through mental stuff, reducing stress, mindset. It's all kinds of stuff that really goes in here. That's the Move, Think, Smile method. That's a whole different discussion. But today, let us share with you the exact 3 strategies we use in order to not have to worry about getting a cease and desist order from the state of Florida or any state or any country that we work in. And we have clients not only in multiple states here in the United States, but also countries. Barcelona, Spain, Australia, kind of all over the place. So the number one thing, guys, that you can do to make sure that you're not infringing on the territory of a nutritionist or a licensed dietitian is, first and foremost, remember that you're a health coach. You are here to coach and educate. Don't advise or tell people what to do. I want you to listen to me very carefully. One of the most powerful things you can do with somebody is let them figure out on their own what foods are causing them problems and what foods are making them feel better. And you can guide them on this process. And this comes from this whole concept of coaching, not advising or telling, comes from seriously life coaching. And that's Elea's forte and background. And Elea, kind of tell us about the whole actual coaching method model.
Well, the real foundation of it is that the client is actually the expert in their own life. They know their body better than you do. They know their stresses better than you do. They know, they're the ones that have to deal with their own life day in and day out. And so with the coaching model, it's really about helping clients become aware of how their lifestyle is impacting them. And so it's absolutely a model where you are not telling people what to do. You are guiding them and showing them the results of their life and helping them make better decisions about what really fuels them and what doesn't. And people will tell you right off the bat, it's like, oh, this makes me feel this way, or this makes me feel that way. And this really comes back to what you really learned, Adam, with, the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, where there's bioindividuality. We're all unique. What works for me doesn't always work for you, and vice versa. And so it's really about understanding that your clients are the experts here and you're the guide.
Right. And think about it like this, guys. You're if somebody's coming to you and paying you $5,000 for health coaching, which is what we charge for our programs, they don't need you to hand them a diet plan. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for health transformation. There are plenty of diet plans out there. There's more than 123 dietary theories as it stands right now, probably more. Everything from the more popular ones like keto and paleo all the way down to the freaking popcorn and the donut diet, which do exist. You can find books on them on Amazon. They're absolutely gross, but there are all these dietary theories out there. And we don't follow any one dietary theory. We never hand out recipes. We never hand out meal plans to people. We do not give any nutrition advice. We coach them through to find out what foods are bad for them and what foods are good for them. Then we also educate them. This is very important. We do educate them on what foods cause inflammation. We do educate them on what foods are prone to turn to the sugar in the bloodstream really fast to cause anything from hormone imbalances to diabetes and whatever else, the stuff that sugar wreaks havoc on. We do coach people on the efficacy of the different types of fats out there. We never go for macro. We never go for proteins, carbs, and fats. We never talk about that. We always talk about what types of proteins are better for you. What types of carbs do you want to focus on? What types of this? And so we educate them, and we take a very educational model. So we're not advising and we're not telling. And that is legal in all the states that I currently know that we're practicing in. And right now we're in all 50 states, and we're in multi-countries as well. But when you get out there and you start advising somebody what to do, it's like, okay, this is the number of calories you got to do. You got to start doing this. Now, all of a sudden you stepped into a healthcare model role. You've become an expert. And then now if you're a nurse practitioner, you're a physician assistant, you're a licensed dietitian, a registered nutritionist, if you're any of those things, you can do that. You can do that. But if you're just a standard health coach with a certification, or you're a wellness expert or a consultant out there and you do not have those things, you need to be very aware that you could be breaking the law in some states if you're doing that, especially in your home state, and they can come after you. Now, in the grand scheme of things, getting a $750 fine and a cease and desist order, wow, that she lucked out. Like if that's all she got, That's amazing, because we have had businesses before where it was more like $100,000 in court orders and lawsuits and all kinds of other stuff. So just realize that you've got to be able to go in there. You've got to coach your clients. You want to educate your clients. And if you do that, you're actually doing them a favor rather than just handing them a play-by-play meal plan. Say, eat this. You don't know why I'm giving it to you, but you're going to lose the weight and you're going to feel better. You're doing a disservice to your clients when you do that by coaching them and helping them go through and do journals and say, hey, for 3 days I ate this, and every time I ate this, I felt like crap. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what did you figure out by that? Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't be eating that. Well, what else do you think you might be able to try? Well, I remember in one of your educational trainings that you talked about how this really cool salad, does things for a lot of people and reduces inflammation. I was thinking about trying to make that. I'm like, cool. All right. Well, why don't you go try that if you want to, and let me know how you feel when you're done. That's kind of like the coaching and education model. It's really simple. It takes a little bit more work in the beginning because you're setting some things up. But if you think you're just going to buy a recipe pack and just hand them out to your clients and be done with it, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea from a legal standpoint. It's a bad idea from an ethical standpoint, because you're not servicing your clients. You're not teaching them how to live a healthy life by doing that. You want them to coach and educate. Elea, you have anything else on that? I kind of went on a little rant there.
I also think it's just really important. One perspective I want to share is I like to tell people, we're going to be like a scientist in your own life, and we're not going to judge anything as like good or bad or terrible or awful or throw blame or guilt or shame. We're just going to take a look at what you're eating and take a look at the way it's impacting you. And so I think it's really important to let people just get curious about how food affects them.
Right.
Sometimes we take it so seriously and we're so worried about everything. And what's important is if we can take a curious perspective on how food makes us feel, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well, that really gives us a lot more leverage and a lot more power.
Remember, the education part is empowering your client to know the truth behind what things do based on our current knowledge. And of course, that can change over evolution. What we know today could be changed in 5 years. We're like, oh my gosh, we were wrong about that. But that's kind of how it works. It's working now, and this is what we know. And then the coaching part is guiding them and coaching them and letting them figure out for themselves what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And you're that facilitator. This is really important. This is what we call a solid health coaching model or wellness consultant model. We're not counseling, we're not advising, we're not telling, we're leaving that to the registered people who've got all the degrees and put in 900 hours of clinical time in order for them to get their certification. But the reality is those guys are going to be stuck making 40, 50, 60 grand a year, whereas a health coach, you can easily take your business to 40, 50, 60 grand a month if you want to. And we've proven that. We've proven that with a lot of our other clients. So that's number one, coach and educate, don't advise or tell. Number two, enroll clients outside of your state. Like if you are living in a state, now I'll be honest, we live in Charleston, South Carolina. We've got some medical laws and stuff like that. We've got nutrition advice laws. We've got some stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, they're not super strict on stuff. Like we've got a little bit more flexibility. But if you're in states like California or New York or Massachusetts or some of those states where they're really, really, really down on what kind of health advice you can give people, then, if you're stuck in a state, you can simply bypass it ethically and legally by enrolling clients outside of your state, especially if you're taking a group coaching model and especially if you're coaching and educating. Elea, what are your thoughts on that?
I think, again, this one, can kind of vary from state to state. So it's kind of tough to really chime in since I don't know 100%. But I do think that, again, and especially looking at Heather's case here, where she was living in California, no issue, and then moved to Florida, had an issue. So again, it's really about the importance of, as a coach, that you just become aware of what those local laws are. You really empower yourself, right? You really take those steps. And the other thing too is that when you're coaching, this isn't quite the same model as the medical model, where again, people are coming to you as a form of advice, of guidance, of someone who's been there, someone who's done that. And I think, again, too, what's also really important is really looking at how You don't need to take this personal. Just because the law says this doesn't mean what you have as a health coach is not valid. It absolutely is. And that's the crazy thing, is this is really just about red tape and who gets to make the money.
It is. It is. It is. I mean, now, granted, there are some medical advice or medical laws out there that protect people from harm. And they really need to exist. But there are a lot of them too that are all about, it's like, hey, I'm this person. I went and spent all this money. I'm licensed and only I should be giving this kind of advice. So unfortunately, there are disgruntled people out there that feel like you're infringing on their territory. But simply, you can enroll clients out of your state and having an online program. All of a sudden, it just opens up the possibilities for what you can and cannot do. Obviously, you do want to be ethical. Obviously, we do advise not giving nutritional advice. We personally don't like handing out meal plans, but we like to coach and educate and guide our clients into better health and wellness rather than just telling them, eat this, and eat this, and just do it. Do it. You need these type of carbs. You need these type of, really educate them. And then the third thing that we do that we found extremely powerful is adapt a group coaching model. And so when we first started years ago, more than a decade ago, it was just Elea, and she was out there doing kind of like one-on-one sessions, doing life coaching and stuff like that. And then we started getting into health coaching. And what we have found is that you actually have better results in a shorter period of time when you have more than one person that you're speaking with. This is really important. When you have a group coaching model, let's say we've got Mary over here and she's overweight, and we've got Sally over here. Mary's got hypertension. She's 50 pounds overweight. Sally's over here. She's, 60 pounds overweight and is dealing with diabetes. All right. So Mary's asking you some questions. You're coaching her. You're guiding her. Mary's saying, yeah, I just learned that anytime I drink a glass of whole milk, like my real stepmom actually does for every dinner, she gets a headache. It's like, oh, well, have you thought about drinking anything else? Well, I did hear that, if I did one of those crazy Kangen units, the pH water, the alkali pH water, that might be a good thing. Well, what do you think you're going to do? Well, I think I'm going to actually try that water. Okay, you come back next week, and all of a sudden now Susie over here is going, I never thought about asking that question. So maybe she'll say, oh, maybe dairy's the culprit, or maybe something like that's the culprit. And all of a sudden she starts having progress there too. Then Mary comes back and goes, I haven't had a headache this week. And it's like, well, why do you think that is, Mary? Because I stopped drinking whole milk with every meal I had. Bam! That's one of the ways. And on the sidelines, we do educate our clients and saying, dairy is well known to cause inflammation. It can cause headaches in some people, and other people call IBS. It can cause all these problems in different areas, and it's different depending on the person's genetic background. But when you adopt a group coaching model, some really amazing things happen. Elea, what's been your experience with that?
Yeah, people, what's so fascinating is with our group, once people really get into the group experience, they love it. They don't want to be back in a one-on-one experience because they want to see other people and other people's experience and realize that they're not alone, and, really understanding and how other people go through this process is so powerful. And just like you said, oh, sorry, I just kicked my microphone away. And just like you said, a lot of times people will ask questions that you didn't even know you had. And so, great questions come from other people. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, yeah, I wish I would have thought of that question. So it really becomes a group learning process, which is so, so, so important. And the other thing, too, that I want to pipe in here is just really taking a look at, Adam, like you were saying, we'll share with our clients, some of the studies on dairy and things like that. But we also take an approach that we don't like to demonize any certain kind of food, right? Some people can actually tolerate dairy maybe once or twice a week or a couple times a month. But when they take it out of their diet every single day for each meal, there can be a radical impact. And so again, we're not just saying you have to cut out different foods and add different ones. We're saying also, what is the consistency, the quality, and the quantity of these different foods that you're eating? And again, this allows people to really take charge of their own health. They need to be empowered to take charge of their own health. And that is a huge part of the coaching model as well, is really helping people get back in touch with what impacts them and how they feel about it versus having people tell them what they need to do.
Yeah. And, you guys probably know that I graduated the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. Our technical coach that's on the Move Think Smile team, who builds out all the marketing technology for all of our clients, she's actually teaches at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And while IIN gave me such a vast knowledge of what food does, and if you've been to IIN, you know the concept of secondary food versus primary food. And that comes from Joshua Rosenthal. It's a completely amazing concept. But I've dove into what IIN didn't teach me. And this is stuff that we pass along to our health coaching clients as well, and our business clients. And that is stuff like how to recharge the human battery, how to uninvoke the cell danger response. And the cell danger response pops on when the brain is sending a threatening message that it's under threat and under stress to the body, and it shuts down the mitochondria. And all of a sudden, all these problems happen. Inflammation, all this stuff. And of course, secondary food just ignites it more. It's not just what they're eating, it's what they're thinking too. Mm-hmm. It's not just how they're exercising, it's when and where they're exercising too. Yep. Like being outside in UV light without sunscreen. Some people are going to yell at me for this. I'm not talking about getting a sunburn, but literally the sunlight, not looking at it, hit your eyeballs and hit your skin does more than just vitamin D. It literally recharges the negative polarity of your cells, and it recharges the human battery. And if you don't believe me, go look up Dr. Gerald Pollack and his whole forced state of water exclusion zone stuff. So we've gone in and we've really dove into modern health science beyond what they've just taught us back in the schools. And so, that group coaching model is super important, along with coaching and educating and enrolling clients outside of your state. And a lot of people are like, well, how do I enroll clients outside of my state? Well, let's get to that in a second. I think right now we have a comment that came through, Elea. Let me see. Can I add it to here it is. And it comes from, it's from Eshy Reed. And she said, actually, amazing interview we did last weekend. She said, I saw a list of states that do not have those laws. Would you recommend target marketing to states that have less restrictive laws? If you follow the approach that we're taking, I don't think it matters. I don't think you're going to have to worry, because if you start target marketing, I mean, you can, Google can do this, Facebook can do this, most of the digital marketing platforms can do this, LinkedIn can do this. You can go in and you create a campaign for just these states and not these states and these states. But then it gets so complicated that here's what's going to happen. And you're not going to know this. People are going to share your ad if it's written well. And this is what happens all the time. And I know this for Eshy because I've watched people share her ad. They're sharing her ad. They're going to share it to their friends. A friend in another state with these laws is going to see it. They're going to book a call with you, and they're going to want to come into your program. And you're not going to realize it till you get their billing address. And are you going to say no? Do you want to say no? Especially if this person says, I've got this big problem. You can totally help me. And they're an amazing person, and you can help them, and you want to help them. No, you don't want to have to say no. So can you take an approach of targeting just certain states with less restrictive laws? Absolutely. I think it's way too much. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, especially if you develop a model with the three things that we talked about. And we'll just go over them real quick again. Number one, let me see where I can find them. It just disappeared on me. Let's get rid of. I got Eshy here. I got too much stuff coming up. There it is. Coach and educate, don't advise or tell. That means you are guiding people using a life coach, it came from life coaching. Give them credit where credit's due. These guys are complete phenomenal badasses. Coach and then educate on what foods do to the body, not do to them, but do to the body, and let them guide them through the process of experimenting with things in and out. Number two, enroll clients outside of your state, not just outside of your state, but outside of your country too. If you're a health coach and you're good at what you do and you're limiting yourself to your region, you're limiting the amount that you can grow in the time that you can grow it. Would you say that's true, Elea?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And then number three, Elea, what is it?
Number three is you want to, hold on. Oh, yes. I just forgot what it was.
It's adopt a group coaching model.
Adopt a group coaching model, yes.
Now, in defense of Ellie, she can't see the prompts that are coming up on the screen. Only I can. So I was just testing her there. Yes. So adapt. Transform your business to have a group coaching model. Guys, it's way more powerful. When you follow these 3 strategies, you are going to have more success with your clients. Trust me, we've tried it the other way. You bypass the laws. You're not only doing it ethically, you're doing it legally. You're helping your clients have more success. They're having better results. They spread the word around, and all of a sudden you can command premium pricing, at $3,000, $5,000 or more, because you're kicking butt and you're actually transforming people's health, rather than them going out and spending $10,000 a year on those high insurance or high premium insurance deductibles, just managing their health problems. Over 10 years, that's $100,000. That's $100,000. You have a $5,000 health coaching program. You just saved them $95,000 in money. Not to mention their life is better. Their relationship is better. They're having more impact with their kids. They're doing better at work. Yeah. They've got more free time. They've got more energy, on and on and on and on and on. So guys, if you would like to learn how to develop a health coaching practice online to where you're serving your clients at a higher level, to where you're coaching and educating them, you're not advising and telling them and just handing out meal plans and stuff like that. If you'd like to be able to reach people outside of your state, outside of your country, so you can really expand your impact, if that sounds at all interesting to you, I want you to go over to movethinkSmile.com/grow and book a call to speak with either the wonderful Elea. Well, Elea, there she is. She's on this side, or myself. And tell them on the call, Elea, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about creating their ideal program.
Yep. We're going to talk about, what it is that who and what they want to do, right? Who they want to reach, what their impact zone is, what their business goals are, what they currently have going on. Mm-hmm. And, really for us and for anyone that books a call, it's really just an opportunity to get some real clarity on what it is that you want to do. And once you have that and we have that, then we can let you know if we can help.
Yeah. We're not saying we're a good fit for your business. We don't even know what you do. We don't know what your background is. We don't know what's working or not working for you. And we are very, very sincere and serious about what we do. And we will give you the gosh honest truth on if you think we're a good fit for your business, we'll tell you if you're someone we think we can help as well. We're going to get crystal clear on your ideal program. We're going to get crystal clear on a price that's fair to your clients and fair to your business. We're going to get crystal clear on exactly who you want to work with, because I don't know about you, but I've worked with people in the past where I'm like, I'd rather never see that person again. Or I hope I don't have to work with that type of person ever again. The non-committal, the non-compliant, they don't show up, they don't do the work, or they just bitch and complain and make excuses all the time. Those are the people we're going to repel away. And then we're going to talk about your monthly income goals. And if we can help support you on that and get you there quickly, we'll talk about helping you design, structure, and develop a health coaching program or wellness program online to where you're reaching people globally, nationally, globally, really expanding your impact to where your business is super successful. All right, guys, that's it for today. That was just kind of like our ad hoc respond to the post that was made in a group earlier today about what do you do in state laws when they come after health coaches giving out nutrition advice. And I hope you found this helpful. Please comment below and let us know if you found this helpful, or if you have any other questions that we can elaborate on in the future. All right, guys, we are here to support you guys the best we can. In the meantime, if you think you would like to chat about growing your business, go on over to movethinksmile.com/grow, and we'll talk soon. On that, see everybody. Take care.